The Lusignan jail since the July 2017 prison unrest has been divided into two sections, a holding bay which houses mainly prisoners on remand and the actual lockups which was scheduled for reconstruction since 2013. Approximately 18 months after hundreds of prisoners were moved to the Lusignan prison, when the Camp Street jail was set afire by prisoners, the holding bay is still in the same condition. The Ghana Human Rights Association, in its 2016-2018 members' annual report, cited overcrowding in those unsustainable conditions at the Lusignan prison, stating, quote, following a temporary introduction of night courts and appeals to the magistrates to be even-handed in bail matters, overcrowding was significantly reduced. This momentum was not sustained by the judicial agencies and numbers on remand have risen again. End of quote. During an exclusive interview with Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels, he explained that a request for funds was sent to Cabinet to enhance and fix structural defects of the holding bay. A response to that request is still pending.
That facility, which was meant to be temporary, has been used for a very long time. There are in excess of 500 prisoners there. As the administrator, I can tell you that the conditions there are not ideal, but it is not something that we are not paying attention to. There too, we would have made a request for additional resources in terms of enhancing the living conditions of those persons who were there. That too, when I last checked last week, it was awaiting Cabinet's approval.
The holding bay is divided into three sections. Holding Bay 3 houses convicted criminals, while Holding Bays 1 and 2 houses prisoners who are on remand awaiting trials. The money sought by the prison authorities, according to the prison director, is intended to go mainly towards enhancing sleeping facilities and additional washrooms for the more than 500 inmates at the Holding Bay.
Since the last uprising we had at the location, what we would have done is that we would have rented some additional portable toilets, and we also purchased some additional tanks. We are in contact with GWI in terms of getting a more frequent supply and better supply of water to the facility. Outside of that, we're working with the Ghana Fire Service, and from time to time, if there is a need, we are assisted by the Civil Defense Commission in terms of transporting water to the location to meet the daily needs of the inmates.
When approached by Nightly News earlier this week, Minister of Public Security Kamraj Ramjatan acknowledged the current state of affairs at the Lusignan Holding Bay and stated that provisions were made.
Sir, yesterday I spoke with the Director of Prisons, and the question I asked him was about the holding bay at Lusignan Prison. It was supposed to be a temporary arrangement, but he expressed some concern about it still being the same way it was last year. He said he wrote to the ministry to ask for some assistance, to make it more livable. And what are your thoughts on that?
That's correct. The monies are there for this 2019 budget to ensure that we have more livable conditions at the Holding Bay. The steel cells for the Camp Street are going to come in this year, and that is going to create lots more space at the Holding Bay.
Minister Ramjatan further revealed that in 2019, there is a plan to reduce the population at the Lusignan Holding Bay, and this is how he intends to do so.
At least 160 or 190 people are going to be transferred to the Camp Street prison, and that will lessen the harshness of the conditions at the Holding Bay. That is one way of doing that. Plus, of course, getting some money to rehabilitate the latrines that they made and things like that.
Could you say how long more will the situation be there? Because it's temporary, but how could it be like the next 6 months?
Until, of course, the completion of the Mazaruni extension, which could be a year more, and also the rehabilitation of some other prisons around the country.
Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.